Hi guys, this is Liz Canada from Sleek Lens. Today I have a tutorial on the Grayscale Essentials Workflow. We're going to be talking about taking your black and white photographs and adding tone and tint to them. So the first thing I'm going to do with this photograph is apply an all-in-one preset before I go ahead and add tone and tint to it. So for this one I'm going to choose the matted. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the presets we have down here. So there are a bunch of tone and tint presets that come with this workflow. And the first one I'm actually going to use, or the only one I'm going to use, is the violet one for this photograph. And I'm going to show you how you can kind of tweak this tone because maybe it's too pink for you or too blue and you want to change it to your personal preference. So I've added the violet preset. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my split toning, and this is where I'm going to be able to change what I want here. So as we can see for the shadows, I have this kind of blue tone, and I want to go ahead and change that to more of like a dark purple tone. So all I'm doing is just dragging the little dropper around to the color I want it to be. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring that all the way up. So for the highlights, we've kind of got this light reddish pink color. So I want to change that to an actual pink color, but way down here. So as you can see, if I go through the saturation here, it'll get really pink, or we can bring it down here and it's just a subtle addition. And in the middle here we have the balance. So what I can do is I can balance the ratio between the shadows and the highlights and the colors between the shadows and the highlights. So the balance was all the way up here. I am going to lower it a little bit. And once I lower it, the photograph is going to get very purple. So I'm going to go ahead and slide this down here. And I'm just going to slide this one up just a little bit. Alright, so that's all I did to change the tone of this photograph. So before we started with the color photograph, we changed it to black and white. And then I went ahead and put a violet tone onto it. And here's what it looks like without the toning, and here's the toning. And of course you can change this really any way you want. If you want it to be a little lighter. But sometimes, you know, your black and white photos don't always have to be gray, black, and white, and you can add a little bit of color to them. So we're going to move on to the next photograph. So for this photograph, I'm going to go up and I'm going to use the all-in-one white castle to convert it to black and white. And then I'm going to go down and let's see. I'm going to apply the sharp as attack just to add a little bit of sharpening. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the black and white contrast number 4. So I have added a lot of contrast and it has blown out the highlights a little bit, not a lot. So I'm going to go to my basics tab here and I'm going to just turn my highlights down a little bit. Right, so now I'm going to go to my tone and tint presets. And there are many to work with here. So there comes with a couple different sepia ones, but there's also a bunch of color ones as well. So for this one I'm going to use the green and red, which isn't my most favorite, but as I mentioned, we can go into the split toning and really kind of change that. So green and red are opposite each other and they are kind of complementary colors, I guess you would say. But I am going to change it a little bit to more of like a blue. So I'm changing my shadows to a blue color here. But I'm going to go ahead and lower the shadows all the way down. And then I'm going to go ahead and change these to a brighter green. I'm going to go ahead and move that down as well. Alright, so here's what it looked like without the toning, and here we have the toning again. So now I'm going to go into my brushes here, and I'm going to open my Grayscale Essentials brushes. And what I'm going to use is the darken here, the light darken, just to kind of darken her shirt here because it does have a lot of it is a really light highlight, and it is kind of just this giant white object in the middle of the photograph. So I'm just darkening it with using the brush, and I'm going to turn the contrast up a little bit and the shadows down and the highlights down as well. And I'm turning the whites down as well. So we have a little more detail in the photograph. So honestly, when it comes to the tone and tint, really you can use any color you'd like. It's up to you. So for the first one, I just went with a kind of violet hue. And for the second one, we have more of a green-blue color. So here's the before and the after. It just really kind of changes the picture a little bit. It's a little bit of a more artistic or a creative way to edit your photographs. And so that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and you'll be able to try it out with your Grayscale Essentials workflow.